Hello there. Hello and welcome back. Of course, we've got another airing of our fabulous one-day special. I was here a couple of hours ago launching it, and I'll be introducing you to the fabulous Leah, who is demonstrating right over in America, and we'll be teaming up with her in a few moments. But we're talking one-day special, and that's what we do. 6 o'clock in the evening, 8 o'clock is the first repeat, and we've got a fabulous set of stamps, and these are ingenious in design because we're talking about concept stamps. So we're not just talking about you stamping an image and that's it. You are able to create all sorts of amazing results with these. Now, we had a very busy hour at 6 o'clock and 20% of the stock has gone. That's the whole day's stock. Now, I need to do a little bit of housekeeping. We're talking about an American company with Pinkfresh, so just bear in mind you've got slight delay with regards to your dispatch. We're talking about the 23rd of July, which is not too long to wait. But this is a really clever idea, a wonderful concept, and it gives you so many different possibilities. Now, the reason being is you've kind of got interchangeable elements with these stamps, and Pinkfresh, one of the first companies to develop this design of stamp. So what you've got is you've got your red rubber, so we know how durable, we know how effective working with red rubber is. But what you've got is you've got a series of stamps within a frame. Now, the idea being you can actually take these out and interchange them. So for instance, the diagonal one, I'm going to do diagonal because I've got myself in a bit of a pickle with the arcs. You can take them out. So it might be that you're not wanting to actually stamp that one in the corner there. You're wanting to go for the next one in, so you can do that quite easy. You've got a little tiny one there, then you can take the next one out. Then you might want to stamp that one, but not the next one. And the idea being is that you can actually use these in a variety of different ways. Now, quite often, and you'll see from Leah's demonstrations, that she won't actually use the outside frame. That's more for kind of positioning. But it's a really clever concept, and it's something that gives you amazing results time and time again, without any measuring, without any division of sizes and working out the widths of those bands and how much gap you need to fit in that particular space. It's all done for you. And of course, you have got your 3 stamps coming to you for that fabulous price on your screen there, which is your one-day special deal, £42.97. Spread the cost over 2 payments if you so choose. And if I haven't explained it fully, I know the perfect woman who can do it, and that's lovely Leah. How are you doing, Leah?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm very well, thank you. Now, it's about 2 o'clock in the afternoon, I believe now.
It is.
Fabulous. Have you had a nice lunch?
You know, we actually decided to wait. We're going to have lunch right after this.
Fabulous. Good idea. Good idea. So I know we're going to have some demonstrations a little bit later on, but I just wondered, could you explain to our lovely viewers how this concept works and what the idea is behind it?
Absolutely. So when we were dreaming these stamps to life, pardon me, we wanted to make background building simple, fun, and easy. So that is how these pop-out backgrounds were born. We are the first to bring to market where every single piece within the background is cut apart so that it just makes making multicolored, multimedia backgrounds really simple and really easy to create. So you can focus on just the fun part of stamping, heat embossing, watercolor, whatever you desire to do. And we take out all of the fuss work.
And that's the bit that we hate doing, isn't it? We love the crafting, the creativity, the fun aspect, but not necessarily the math as we were talking about earlier on. Now, you've got your your 3 stamp plates, but you've got 40 stamps within there, which you're going to be able to interchange. We will see Leah working with these in a little while. The details are there on your screen. Have you seen these wonderful finished samples that we've got here? Just giving you a snapshot of some of the effects that you can get with these. Now, 025487, that is going to get you all 3 of those stamp sets. And of course, you can pop those elements out, pop them back in again, and get some amazing results every single time. All for just £42.97. Or spreading the cost over 2 payments of £21.49. And of course, you are saving £8 with your one-day special. Now, of course, it's a fabulous concept. We've got lots more to share with you. But I don't think it'd be a bad idea if we actually saw these in action straight away. I mean, Leah, are you okay if we come straight to you for a demonstration?
Absolutely.
Right, fire away. Let's see what you can do with these then.
Okay, so in the first hour, I demonstrated the pop-out rainbow and the pop-out diagonal stripe. And so for this hour, I'm actually going to demonstrate the pop-out straight stripes.
Oh, nice.
So Yeah, so I have them arranged in my stamping platform. And as you can see, I have the frame around it as well. And I use this as a guide. Typically, the only one I don't use the frame on is the rainbow. And that's because you do run the chance of getting a little bit of ink on that frame and stamping inside of your card panel, but you don't run that risk with the stripes because you're just going to trim that part away. So just to give you a little bit of a view into how I create this. So now for this panel, I'm going to do an ombre gradient stripe using 4 colors from our pink collection of our premium dye inks. So, but before we get to that, I'm going to show you how I set this up. So you want to make sure that you are pulling from left to right. So sometimes you might have to flip your platform over to make sure you're pulling the correct items. So then above me, I'm going to take out the first 3 that I don't need because I'm going to stamp them with a different color. And I'm going to place them right above me. So then I know to skip 1 and then pull out the next 3 as well. And I'm going to leave a little space so I know where those go. And then finally, I'm going to pull out these final 2, put them above, and this just makes it so I know which layer is next. So to start, we are going to ink up these first 3 stripes with Ballet Slipper, which is the lightest pink in our selection of pink premium dye inks. And I'm going to get that all inked up. Now I am inking up with the full-sized ink pads just for time's sake. I know that you guys do have available our 4 packs of ink cubes, which work just the same. We just used the larger ones for time purposes. And so as you can see, the first set of stripes are on there. Now they're really light. It's a really light pink, so it's maybe a little bit harder to see. But as I start using the darker pinks, you're going to see how fun this is. So here is where how I have them organized comes into play. So now I easily know which is the next stripe that I need to add into the whole layer here. And then I know where to remove it. So I'm just lining those guys up, pulling out the layers that I don't need anymore. And now we're ready to ink up the next set of stripes. And these ones I'm going to ink up in our Sparkling Rose, which is the second shade of pink in our collection of pink inks. You just want to get nice, good coverage. The great thing about red rubber is you get really great stamp impressions every single time. That is why we chose to do our backgrounds in red rubber. There's not a lot of fussing. I very rarely have to stamp a second time. And if I do, it's typically because I've made a mistake, not the stamp itself. So we are super happy with how our backgrounds have turned out using the red rubber. And we just love the crisp impressions that they give and how easy they are to just make a really beautiful background. So I'm going ahead and I am placing in that third layer of stripes. Now the one on the edge is a little bit trickier, it's a little bit harder to get in, but the cool part about that is you've got that frame that is malleable, so you can, you know, fuss with it a little bit that way. Okay, third layer we're going to do is the bubblegum, which is the third shade of pink. It's a little bit more vibrant and bright of a pink in our pink ink collection. Say that 3 times fast. And we are really, really close to having an almost complete background here. We just got a couple layers left to finish. But I love showing the full background so that you get the complete. Now I've confused myself a little bit. 1, 2, 3, right here. Here we go. So you can see how a full background comes together. Just add one in here. And we are in our final shade of pink. This is Raspberry Bliss, and it's the darkest shade of pink. Our ink pads are really nice and juicy, so they ink up your inks, or excuse me, they ink up your stamps really well, whether you're using red rubber or clear. All right, so we have inked up our final set of stripes, and let's go ahead and do the big reveal here. And just like that, you have a beautiful multicolor striped background. It was super easy to do.
I love that, and of course that set of 4 inks just made for that, for the gradients. And the gradient that you saw obviously with the pinks there, you've got similar sort of gradients with blues and the reds, there's oranges in there, greens as well, so there's lots of different combinations. Brought the details up on the screen for the premium dye inks, and we've got these smaller cubes, so smaller than the ones that we saw Leah working with, but exactly the same colour. And you can see here each set of 4 are just coming to you for £11.99. Again, we've got extended delivery on these to the 23rd of July, but there is a way for you to get hold of the complete collection, and that's the particular one there, which is those gorgeous pinks there that have we saw just a few moments ago being used with Leah's little demonstration there. Now, if you like the look of them and you want to go for all of them, though, we have got a complete collection which is available for you over 3 flexi buy payments. I know some of you did get involved with these at 6 o'clock. It's a considerable purchase, as you can see there, but we've got 3 flexi buys, which makes it perhaps a little bit more affordable. And of course that gradient of colours is going to be perfect for you to work with your one-day special stamps that we're seeing Leah working with as well. So 190963 if you are wanting all of those ink pads, and let's face it, why wouldn't you? They're absolutely beautiful, and of course a nice convenient size as well, which means you're going to get all of those colours. So now that you can see there how Leah has put that wonderful background together, we will go back to Leah in a little while, but it just shows you how convenient it is to have all of those elements already cut from the stamp for you to insert and take out at your leisure. You can go back at watch the show at 6 o'clock, where you will see how Leah created the most incredible rainbow effect using the arc, similar to the one that we've got on your screen here, but of course this one has got a little bit of added sparkle in there, because of course that's exactly what you can do if you wanted to add that bit of sparkle. Whether you're using your premium dye inks or whether you're using your metallic embossing powders with these, or indeed this one here is a lovely idea where you've got those 4 different gradients of blue used there, going from the darkest right through to the palest tone. And of course not only have you got your arc, but you've got your diagonal line, as you can see there. We saw Leah working with this one at 6 o'clock, and of course the horizontal lines, this one that you can see here is a twist on that, because of course take your verticals, twist them 90 degrees, and you've got your horizontals as well. Some additional little stamps there you can see, which we have got additional stamps on the show for you, which lend themselves so well, but it really is a versatile bundle, as you can see, all 3 of those coming to you for £42.97. So at 025 487 if you are wanting these. Now we're going to head back over to Leah to see how she's getting on, because she's created that background. Now I don't know if she wanted to add anything else to it, or maybe she's already done that, I don't know, but I think that was just kind of a technique just to show us how to put that together. You can see she's busy getting herself ready for her next demonstration. So are we going to go straight to Leah now? Perfect, let's have a little look. We're just hungry for these demonstrations.
Hi, okay. So we just did that striped background. Now we are actually going to stamp an element from another set of products that you guys have in this hour. It is the Celebrate bundle. It's a collaboration that we did with another company. I'm sure we'll talk about it a little bit later. But inside of it, there is this stamp set called Celebrate Us, which is a layering floral stamp set. So we are going to go ahead and we are going to layer this floral stamp set, and we're going to use them together. So later in the show, when we pull this card together, we're going to use the striped background along with the layered floral, and you're just going to see how beautiful all of our products work together. So this is a really, really fun floral to stamp. So the first thing that we're going to do is we're going to take the outline and we're going to stamp that in our detailed black ink. This is a hybrid black ink. It is both watercolor and alcohol marker friendly, but it's also just perfect for stamping sentiments when you want a really crisp black image. And it is also perfect for stamping these outline florals. Now, I like to stamp lightly and keep the lines of the florals dainty, the way that they're designed. So that's where your stamping platform comes in, and you can stamp twice and just do a nice light pressure. So you get that really nice, crisp black impression, but you're not making the lines too thick. And that was with using our detailed black hybrid ink. This is my favorite black ink. I've used many different black inks out there, and I was really excited about this formula when we brought it to our collection of inks. So this is the outline floral, and let me just show you real quick here how beautiful that is just by itself. But the great thing about, now you could actually leave this stamp as is. You could color it in with alcohol markers or watercolors, but it also has these great layering pieces. And so what I'm going to do, I am going to layer, I'm going to stamp the layers in. So in some of these pink matching inks that we just used on the stripe, I'm just going to use a couple of them. And so all you do is you take this piece and you will see that it's pretty easy to layer up inside of that flower. Now I'm going to stamp the first layer in that lightest shade of ballet pink. It's probably my favorite pink that we have. I just love how whimsical and light it is. It's just perfect for that first layer on flowers like this. So these are clear stamps, and what you'll want to do when you get your stamps first is you just want to make sure that you condition them, and that's how you will consistently get a beautiful, even stamp impression. The way that I condition stamps is I actually just run an eraser over the top and then wipe them down with a microfiber cloth. And at that point, typically I am getting a really, really lovely stamp impression. So I'm going to go ahead and stamp the second layer, and then I will pull the image up to the camera and show it to you so you can see how gorgeous these layers are together. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm actually going to use bubblegum, which is 2 shades darker than the ballet slipper, because I really want to see some good differentiation between the 2 layers. Now, if you wanted it to be more subtle, you could choose the sparkling rose, which is the color in between the 2. Or if you wanted it to be really bold, you could pick that raspberry bliss, which is the darkest of the pinks, and there it would be a really very drastic difference. So just to show you, look at how gorgeous that is already. And you just get, it's really easy to just stamp the 2 layers on there. So I'm going to go ahead and finish stamping the rest of the leaves. The great thing about these leaves is these are actually one step. So you can actually do both sets of the leaves at the same time. So I'm going to go ahead and layer both of them onto my stamping platform here. Another great thing about this floral stamp set is you don't have to be as particular about where the layers go, because it's meant to be a little, not, I don't want to say abstract, but a little bit more artistic. And so if you have them a little bit placed outside of the lines, it's not a big deal. It actually adds some character to it, I think, and makes it look a little bit more homemade and a little bit more artsy. So I am just using our Fresh Pear, which is one of our lightest shades of green ink that we carry. And those are also, that is also available in those ink cubes. All right, so let's go ahead and take a look. This is the second part of our card. This is that beautiful layered floral from the Celebrate Us that's in that Celebrate bundle, the collaboration between us and Altenew.
Beautiful, I love that. Now I've actually got some examples because obviously we're going to chat about that bundle in a few moments, but as Leah has been working with them, I thought I'd go and fetch those so as you can see them. And it really is a clever effect because when you look at this, you'd be right in thinking that they look as if they've been professionally printed, but what has happened is the inks that you've got from that wonderful collection that we've just been looking at have been used to add that depth. It's such a clever concept. So if ever you struggle, if you struggle with your colouring in, then those inks and those stamps are going to be able to help you no end with that. So we'll show you these a little bit later on, but the details are on your screen, so if you do want to get hold of them, they are part of that bumper bundle. But of course, we've been chatting about that one day special. Leah, thank you for that. We're going to come back to you in a little while. But these are another idea along a similar sort of vein as the ones that we've seen with the one day special. But this time you've got dies involved as well. So you've got your stamp, so that's kind of the core of the concept, where you've got your, again, red rubber stamp with all the different segments in there. And you'll see that you've got your little cut lines in there. So these are going to pop out, and I'll show you that in just a few moments. But the amount of detail is incredible. Lots of different sentiments, as you can see from those little triangles around the edge. And then, of course, you've got that lattice, that diamond work sitting in the centre. So what that means is if you're wanting to, you can stamp out these elements, but pick out certain elements. So it might be that you don't want the solid piece in there. So you take the solid piece out. Might be that you want to interchange these. Well, that is the beauty of this. You can do exactly that. Take out those elements, place them back where you want them to go, and create your design accordingly, and similarly with those other elements. So of course what will happen is it will only stamp out what is left there. So I'm going to pop those back in place so we don't get those mixed up. But what about that lattice? What about cutting that out and actually multi-layering that one? Well, you can do, because you've got the exact same size of that stamp in a die formation. So this means that you can really build up that. I mean, imagine this for things like shaker cards and different elements, adding your foam tape, lifting this away from the background. Absolutely beautiful. But you've got another set of dies in here. And these are clever as well, because those little florals that you just saw in amongst those diamonds are able to be cut out using the set of dies that come with them. And they come with a little magnetic sheet in there as well to keep them all neat and tidy. So absolute perfection time and time again. Just want to turn this around just so as you can see. So if you are creating with these, you do decide to cut them out, then that's the kind of idea that you will get with those. And of course you can multi-layer those with the original stamp, as you can see there. It all comes together. Brilliant. £38.97, very affordable. And of course if you do want to spread the cost of that one, you can do. 117,552, just two Flexi buy payments of £19.49. Now the hexagons, and I do like my hexagons, I must admit. This one again, similar sort of concept. You'll get the idea where you've got the stamp with the segments in there that you can kind of interchange to whatever you want them to be. But then you have got the die that will work alongside these as well. Really is a clever concept, and again, more sentiments that you are able to use alongside. Well, they're not going to interchange so much because of course you've got your different shapes, but you could use them together in a variety of different ways. So I know you're crafters, you'll use all sorts of different techniques. Again, you've got some little dies there that will allow you to cut out those wonderful little floral stamps that you've got featuring in there as well. And they're just a really clever idea. And the die itself, of course, is going to cut out not only the framework, but of course those elements of those hexagons. So you could almost paper piece those as well if you wanted to, couldn't you? Get some really nice techniques going with those. So 285,317 if you fancy getting hold of those. Again, very affordable at £36.97. But it's all about the concept. It's about the different techniques and how you're going to get so many different ways of working with those within that little combination there. Brilliant idea. Now sentiments are key as well, and we've got some of those to share with you, and we saw this particular one being used in the demonstrations at 6 o'clock, and simply says hello. But what you've got here is a series of two dies. So you can see from the packaging there, you've got your kind of darker teal colour, that's your backdrop, and then you've got your lighter tone with your pale blue, which is your foreground sentiment. So here you go, you can see your two different dies featuring. Now, of course, you could just use one or the other if you wanted to. You don't have to use them both together. But the beauty is when you do line them up and use them together, you have got that lovely depth of dimension, and it really does make a fabulous sentiment to go onto your cards. As I say, go back and watch the 6 o'clock show and you'll see those ones being used on the demonstrations. Another perfect sentiment is happy birthday. It's the one that we use most often, isn't it? And this is a really good size. And again, a lovely scripted font there. I love the kind of little swirls that you've got within there. Really, really pretty. Again, good size. I mean, have a look at that. that is a good size die to be using. And the advantage of having a good size die is you don't necessarily need much more to go onto your card, because that is your focal point. So keeps that design simple. And of course the beauty is that you don't need to necessarily use an awful lot, especially with the one-day special, because you're using inks. You're not adding lots of embellishments, lots of gems and pearls, which you could do if you wanted to. But simplicity is the key sometimes, and especially if you are fundraising, perfect way of using those. Now, this is another nice combination. Got two different die sets that I'm going to share with you, and these are very, very clever, because you've got nested labels, as you can see here, labels and frames. Now here you've got 18 dies, you've got 6 kind of repeats of each of those shapes, but they're nested, they're getting smaller or getting larger if you're going from the centre outwards. And of course they team up beautifully with the cards that we've been looking at. Perfect way for you to actually put your sentiment in place. $18.99. I mean, those are so affordable. And 662-664 is your item number for those. Next one, a little fancier. So you've got the simplicity of those particular lines, but this time you've got something with a little bit of flourish, a bit of fanciness with these, and you've got those lovely edges, as you can see there. Again, using portrait landscape, using them in a whole host of different ideas. And of course, you have got the ability to kind of work with these in a similar way to the stamps, where you're using the outside one and maybe the innermost one, creating different frames, different kind of apertures, depending on what you need for your project. So 641-870 if you're wanting those. Now this is a nice one. I like this one because I think it's almost like it's a happiness card, if there is such a thing. I mean, it looks a beautiful design to start with, and of course you recognise that concept that we've been talking about. So you've got the die, you've got the stamp that's going to work alongside it, and again all your segments are in there. So again, you can interchange those if you're wanting to, and then start getting really creative with these. So might be that you're doing something similar to the packaging, where you're going on opposite. So you can see how the red in this corner here has been used with the red opposite, and so on. So all the colours of the rainbow coming into play there. Or maybe you're going to do a kind of ombre effect, which you could do quite easily. This is a similar sort of idea to just keeping the tones of those colours down. You've only got, what, 4 maybe different colours in here. I am guessing that if you wanted to actually use your sets of 4 from your inks, you could do that quite easily, couldn't you? Because it fits in there perfectly, your 4 different colour tones. Now on this one, you'll notice that you've almost got like a raised element, and that's because you've got a die that comes alongside this, which acts as a perfect frame to sit on top of there. But whether you're using it with the frame or whether you're choosing to use it without is entirely up to you. Either way, you are going to get some lovely results with it. So £32.98, a very affordable way for you to get a lovely concept die and stamps set together. So 555680. Now, of course, Leah was talking about that kind of collaboration that we've got going on with the next item. This is where 2 fabulous companies have come together to bring a wonderful bundle of goodies. So Pinkfresh have teamed up with New, and you can see there you've got the stamps that we saw being used in the demonstration, those multi-layer stamps that give you such incredible detail. Really clever idea. Lots of sentiments with these as well, so lots of different occasions you'll be able to use them for. And the beauty is not only are you getting the dies, you're getting the stamps, and you are also getting a wonderful, well, it says on your screen paper pad. This is a bit of a bugbear of mine, because when you actually see the quality of this, I think you will agree it's bordering on cardstock, because the thickness that you've got with this. I have to keep checking because I keep thinking I've picked up 2 sheets at the same time. I think you're talking, I don't know if there's actually a GSM or anything on here to actually say what they are. I know in America it tends to be pounds per inch, but I can't see anything detailed on there. I would hazard a guess that we're looking at something like 190, something like that. It's a really, really good weight, and it's a beautiful base for you to actually stamp on. So you've got some lovely kind of pages that have been created, multiples of these as well, so you don't have to worry when you're using these. You will have a second one that you're going to be able to work with, but coming right the way through, giving you backgrounds, giving you elements. You could fussy cut with these, but giving you some beautiful images right the way through there. Absolutely beautiful. And then of course you've got the stamps and the dies that are going to help you create some beautiful cards. And as you saw from that demonstration, it really is a clever concept where you can multi-stamp and create that depth. I mean, it does look like it's come from a die cut pack. You know, when you buy those packs and you might have a limited number of florals in there to use. Well, not with these, because of course you can just keep going, stamping them and embossing them and having loads of fun with them. 2 Flexi buys will get you these, £28 and 48 pence, and a brilliant value bundle at 712217 if you are wanting those. Now I'm going to head back over to Leah. Can't wait to see what else she's got planned for us. So what are you up to this time, Leah?
Okay, well, actually, we're gonna finish that card. We're gonna put it together so you can see how beautifully the products work together. And I don't know if this helps. I don't know the equation. But those papers that you showed in the 6x6 paper pad, they are 100 pounds here in the U.S. So I don't know what that equates to in GSM, but just that might be helpful.
I think we're on it. We're doing the calculations.
Perfect. Okay, so as you can see, I went ahead and I trimmed down that striped background. So as I mentioned, you don't have to worry if you get a little bit of ink on that frame and it maybe creates a couple little splotchies, because you're just going to trim them right off and you've got this gorgeous striped background. That's a perfect background panel for your card base. Now I'm making an American sized A2 card today, which is 4 1/4 by 5 1/2 inches. And so I am just going to go ahead and adhere that striped background to a pink colored A2 card. And so now you've got that nice border around the stripe from the pink card base. So off camera, I went ahead and I die cut that floral piece using the coordinating die from in the Altenews Celebrate Us collaboration. I also went ahead and I die cut that beautiful word thankful from the same die piece. Now this is a 2-piece die. You've got the scripted word thankful, and then you have a very small shadow outline that I cut in vellum. Finally, I also pre-die cut 2 labels using those, the Essentials Fancy label frames. And those are also available. And so what you're going to see here as I'm putting the card together is I'm going to layer them together, and it's just going to bring the card all together. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take the white layer from the fancy label frames, and I'm just going to go ahead and put it in my small stamping platform. So then I'm going to use the thankful word as a guide, because I'm going to just finish off the sentiment with the little for you sentiment that comes in that Celebrate Us stamp set. And I'm just using the word thankful as a guide, so I know where to place the for you. That looks good. I'm going to pull it away. Make sure it looks straight. You got to love the beautiful guidelines you get on your stamping platforms to make sure you're always stamping straight. And then I am going to ink it up with that detailed black hybrid ink that I told you about, or that I used earlier. And as I mentioned, it's really great for all sorts of stamping. It is watercolor and alcohol marker friendly, but it's also really great for just getting a really great clean impression for all of the sentiments that you have in your stamping collection. So I went ahead and just stamped that for you in the corner of the label, and then the thankful is going to sit right across the top. So let's just go ahead and very quickly finish putting this card together. So I'm going to start by putting the gold label onto the front, and I'm going to actually arrange it so it's tucked underneath the flower. So I will just use a little bit of tape runner on the back of it, because it's okay that it doesn't have, this piece doesn't have any dimension. I am the queen of dimension. I love adding dimension to my cards. As you've noticed, I kind of put foam tape underneath everything. Now, if you're wanting something that's going to be a little bit more mail, postal office mail friendly, just leave some layers of the dimension off. Mine often are sitting, in a trade show or something along those lines, so I try to add a lot of dimension so they stay put. Now we're going to go ahead and we're going to put the flower down. And I'm just using a little bit of tape runner for that as well. And here is where the fun part comes in. So we are going to pop up the sentiment label with some foam dots. Get those pieces off. And the great thing about those fancy label frames is they're nested. So when you cut the different layers, they nest within each other. And so the final step is I'm going to add in that die cut think forward. We're just going to use a little bit of liquid adhesive, dots here and there, so it sticks down really well. We're going to place it over top of the thankful for, or the stamped for you. And voila, we have a card that says thankful for you.
Oh, I love that. And so effective and so easy because, of course, all of the work has been done for you. And we did have a question come through, actually, from Margaret. And our viewers are very eagle-eyed. They noticed when you were doing your stamping technique with the one-day special that you were using, was it a cloth or a sponge as you were going over?
Oh, this.
Well, yeah, when you got it within, I think you got it in your stamp platform, and then was it to apply additional pressure as you were working? I'm not quite sure. You were kind of stroking across as you got your stamps in place.
Yes. So actually, a friend of mine. This is just a sweatband, like things that you would wear on your arm. It's
a better use using it in crafting, in my opinion.
Yes. And so what that does for me, anyway, what I have found when I'm stamping that image on my stamping platform, this helps me apply really even pressure so that I'm not accidentally pressing too hard in one area and getting that weird squish mark.
That makes complete sense. I might steal that tip. I like that idea myself. I'm definitely going to give that one a go. Now, of course, we have been chatting about the one-day special. I'm going to let you get ready for your next demonstration, Leah. And, of course, we've been looking at those wonderful stamps that Leah's been using throughout her demonstration. So, a lovely combination, as you've seen there, with lots of clever concepts. And, of course, Leah has been working with these throughout. In the first hour, we saw Leah working with the arc and also the diagonal stripes. And, then, of course, Leah has just been working with those vertical stripes, which equally do double up as your horizontal, depending on which way you're wanting to work your cards. And the concept is the same for each one of these. You've got a series of individual stamps that sit neatly within the frame. Now, the frame can stay in place, as you saw Leah was working with the frame in place for the straight lines, or you can take that away and just use it merely as a positioning a platform or a template. And the idea is you kind of leave stamps in and take stamps out for the variants that you're wanting. So what we saw from Leah was when she was working with hers, she was leaving one stamp in, taking out a couple of extra ones and then leaving the next one in, because she was working with 4 different coloured inks. So she used her first ink and then she would continue that across. So she would be inking up that piece, she'd be taking out 3, inking up the 4th one, and then when she comes back in, she's putting those back in place for the next colour. So she'd pop that one in place, excuse my crudeness of the way that I'm holding these, and then pull that one out. So that is a second colour, but it's perfectly positioned alongside the original stamp out that she'd done, because of course using a platform means you're getting that perfect result every time. And that's exactly what you can see with our wonderful examples that we've got on the counter here. Every single card has been created using those wonderful stamps that we've seen within the one-day special, and the perfect lining up every single time. You can see that ombre effect there, going from that pale minty green right the way through to that almost, it's almost like a teal green. And this is using the 4 colour groupings that you've got within each of those sets of those wonderful cubes at the bottom of your screen. Now, they are available in their colour grouping, so your pinks, your greens, your blues, for $11.99. But if you want to go for all 48 of those, then we have got the deal at the bottom of your screen, which you can spread over 3 payments. And of course, what that means is if you do want to go for the one-day special alongside them, then you can spread the cost of that over 3 payments as well. £42.97 is your one-day special price, and that price is going to go up. So at the moment, you've got an £8 saving, but tomorrow evening, it will go up to that higher price, and you do not want to pay a penny more than you need to. And it's a beautiful set of stamps, very versatile as well, as we've seen from all of those demonstrations. Just need to mention American company Pinkfresh, so of course we have extended delivery. It's only the 23rd of July, which will be here before we know it. And 028487 is the item number if you do want to get hold of these. Now, of course, the concept that we've got working with these is echoed in some of the additional stamp sets that we've got. So I'm just going to take a moment of your time just to show you the next next set, which has got a lovely creative sense with it, because it's got some wonderful designs within here as well. So a similar sort of idea with regards to the stamp. So you've got that outside frame, which you can use just as a positioner. You don't necessarily have to keep that in position when you're stamping out, but then you've got your interchangeable elements here. So you could be stamping these out. You might use that kind of grid work, that lattice work, and then ink up this in one particular colour and then move it to another position and another position and so on, and create your design. You've also got your lovely florals featuring in here as well, and again those come out so you can interchange those, and you've got a whole host of different designs with regards to your sentiments featuring in there as well. Now it perfectly positions alongside the die that you've got, which means that if you do want to create a lattice to sit on top, then you can do, and it's going to line up absolutely spot on. And you can see kind of a little idea of how it's going to work on the back there, where you've got that lattice, and you can see a little bit of a shadow with those individual florals. Reason being is you have got the die that allow you to kind of cut those out. It's almost like a little bit of fussy cutting with those as well. So really clever concept. You're getting the stamps, you're getting the dies, and of course the lattice die there as well for £38.97. Loads and loads of different combinations with that one. It's a really clever one to work with, and you can see the details there, 117552 if you're wanting those ones. But there is another set which is similar, which is the hexagons, and this time you can see you've got your hexagon die, your hexagon stamp, and of course you've got your little die that is allowing you to cut out the beautiful little florals that you can see. And again, just really pretty designs and lots of different combinations within these as well. So loads of ways you can work with this, and I'm sure you'll be looking at these and coming up with ideas of yourself. I mean, the hexagons naturally kind of steer towards almost like a floral design, so you can see the solid centre there. It could be that you're using a rainbow around the edge there to create almost the petals, or maybe you'll be using that finer detail of the stamps that's in there as well. But then you've got another die that will allow you to cut out some of those florals, and you can see them created here, just cutting out, multi-layer them up, and just giving you even more depth and dimension, which is something that Leah loves to do with her cards, as she's been showing us. So those dies, your hexagon dies and your hexagon stamps, all coming to you for £36.97. 285317 being that all-important item number. We're going to head back over and see Leah, because I can see that she's busy crafting. She's having a whale of a time, and I'm loving everything that she's bringing to us. Now don't forget, Leah is going to be with us live during this hour for the rest of the hour, but she's not going to join us again until 4 o'clock tomorrow afternoon. That's some UK time. So if you've got any questions that you're wanting to ask, this is probably a good time for you to do so, but get them in as soon as you can, because we've only got about 15 minutes left within the show. Leah, I'm going to hand back over to you to see what you've got planned for us.
Okay, so we're going to use that Pop Out Sunburst stamp set. So, but as you can see, I've kind of arranged it in my stamping platform. I'm only using the top pieces. You absolutely can stamp the sunburst all the way around your card if you want to, but the versatility portion of these stamps is that you don't have to. So as you can see, I have the bottom portion that I'm not going to use, just put over here to the side. I still have it in order, so I know which way it goes back in. And for this one, I will also still continue to use the frame just to help me place my layers. You're also going to notice on the paper that I'm using is I've just put a little bit of that, it's like a purple tape. It's a less sticky tape. And this is just going to make it so that I don't stamp below a certain point, because I'm really wanting this just to be like an actual burst of sun rays. So we're going to go back to rainbow colors this time. So don't forget that you want to make sure that you're going to kind of feel like you are pulling layers from the wrong side, because you need to pull them from the opposite side to make sure you're going in the correct order from left to right when you're stamping. So you're actually going to pull technically from the right side. So we're going to start with Coral Reef, which is the lightest shade in our reds, which is a really beautiful color of pink. But first I'm going to pull the layers that I'm going to want to be different colors. So we're going to go ahead and just start pulling those up. And as I did with the stripes, I go ahead and I pull them up in the order that I know they need to be inked, so that I'm not losing my place. And I think that's right. Pink, red, orange, yellow, green, blue, purple. Yep. Okay, perfect. Okay, so I have my 2 pieces. I'm also going to remove the circle. And I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to start inking these up in the coral reef. These are a little bit smaller pieces, so they ink up relatively quickly. And here I am using my little sweatband tool, which just allows me to give nice, even pressure. And it looks like I missed a little bit. Got to push a little harder where the tape is. Perfect. There we go. Okay, so as I did with all of the other layers before, I know that this is going to be my next layer, which is the red. And then the red is also, going to go right here. And I'm just using that previous layer to help line up all of the different pieces within these pop-out backgrounds. So up next, I'm going to use the Candy Apple Red, which is in the same collection as Coral Reef. It's just a couple of shades deeper. And we are going to stamp the next section of rays. And it's looking good so far. And we're just going to keep doing this until our rainbow of rays is finished. Now, after this set, I actually don't have multiple rays to stamp up. For this one, I'm using Clementine, which is in our selection of orange inks. And then once again, this is a little bit on the tape line, so you want to step a little bit harder. So let's just see the progress so far. How fun is that? It's going to look even better once we have the full rainbow in there, but it's just a really, really fun process. As I mentioned in the first hour, and maybe earlier today or earlier in this hour, when I create backgrounds like this and I'm just stamping on my own to stamp, I will create lots of backgrounds with all of the different layers. So what you can do is you can just grab a bunch of sheets of white cardstock, whatever your favorite is and your favorite inks. And as you're creating backgrounds, you can just put the first layer in and then stamp to your heart's content. You can stamp all different colors on different sheets. You can heat emboss with whatever, gold, silver, black, white, any of those options. And you can just create tons and tons of backgrounds to have on hand for whenever you happen to need them. That is such a fun part about these pop-out stamps. And when you get going, man, you can really get on a roll and you can just be a background creating machine. So we're really close to finishing with the rainbow here. Where was I? Right there. Oh, that was dumb, Leah. Hold on, rookie mistake. The great thing about it though is I have that frame still in there, so I can line these back up. So here, that is a good troubleshooting thing. If you accidentally take a layer out before placing your other layer, just back up a couple to where you know they butt up in that frame, and then you should be good to go. And you don't have to worry about it not stamping in the right place. Now we're doing aquamarine, and I am sorry, I forgot to share, the green was grassy knoll and the aqua was aquamarine. And we are to our final color here, and that is Candy Violet. It's in our purple collection. It's this one right here. And this is our final layer to ink up, and then I can show you, oh, that's wrong. I actually have to ink up the sun, and we're gonna do a fun little easy technique with the sun layer as well. Okay, so I do have the final layer of the rainbow done. So when I'm putting the sun in, because the sun I typically always stamp last, when I put that in, I'll go ahead and I will just add in a few of the top layers first, and that gives me a guideline to place the circle. So what I'll do is I'll just go ahead and I'll butt that circle up against it so it's in the right place, and then I'll pull those layers back out and just verify that it looks like it fits right in there, and it sure does. So I'm going to use our Sunshine ink as the base layer. So I'm going to ink the whole sun up with Sunshine. But then I'm going to take our Sweet Mustard, which is the next yellow up, and I am going to just add a little bit of it at the very, very top of the sun. And then I'm going to take the Sunshine one more time, and I'm just going to smooth out that line. So then when we stamp the sun, it's just going to have a little bit of a gradation of color in there. And I will do this. I'm going to pull off the purple tape, and voila, we have a beautiful rainbow sunrise.
Beautiful. Love that, Leah. And I love that little gradient in there. And I love that stamping undo button that you kind of shared with us there as well. I thought that's a really clever technique about lining them back up again. But what a wonderful result. Now, I'm guessing there's going to be more to add to that sentiment. Are you doing something along the lines of that?
Yeah, I just need to get it set up a little bit.
Wonderful. Well, I'll come back to you in a few moments then. We only have a few minutes left, but we will fly back and see, well, not literally fly over and see Leah, but you know what I mean. Now, the details on your screen for your one-day special. We are rapidly coming to the end of the second live hour with this, and we will have those nighttime repeats, but it's proved to be a very, very popular one-day special. And, of course, the idea of using that technique, similar to the one that Leah's just shared with us with that sunburst, you can apply that technique again to these stamps. You've got your vertical or your horizontal lines, you've got your arc as you saw, and again these two that I'm holding here were demonstrated in the 6 o'clock show, and of course the straight lines that we just saw a few moments ago with Leah's demonstration earlier. So all of those coming together for that fabulous price on your screen there. 2 flexi buys are £21.49, 025487 if you're wanting to get hold of those. You've got all the wonderful samples here showing you how you can use a myriad of colours, whether it's a rainbow, whether it's a gradient, whether it's an ombre effect that you're wanting to create with these. Whatever style you're wanting to create with these, you are going to have the ability to do so. Portrait lines, landscape lines, mixing up those colours, keeping them as gradients, it's entirely up to you. But it's the versatility of that concept that is key with these. Now I'm going to hand back to Leah. We've only got a couple of minutes with you, Leah, but you've got a sentiment to pop on.
Oh, I'm getting there. All right, we're just going to pull one out really quickly. So the great thing about the pop out, both the diamonds and the hexagons, is they have these fantastic sentiments that you don't actually have to just use within either the diamonds or the hexagons. You can use them anywhere that you want. So I just realized. So I'm going to just pull one. Let's see here. We've got a rainbow sunshine. So let's do this. Just a note. I think that this would be a fun any occasion card. So we're just going to go ahead and put this down in the corner, and it is nice and straight. I'm going to use that detailed black ink one more time just to create a fun and simple sentiment. Now these sentiments are very dainty and very intricate, so I have been letting you guys know that the way that I love to stamp sentiments is to just do a nice light pressure and stamp it a couple times so that you don't get any weird smooshing or too much pressure. And then you just get these beautiful, very intricate sentiments.
That is really cute. I love that.
Thank you. Kind of ran out of a little bit of time. I probably would have made this card a little bit more elaborate, add some jewels, stuff like that. But it's nice to just be able to make a really simple card.
Well, this is it, and that's not a problem. It's one of those things that we always find we run out of time, Leah, with these shows. But thank you. Everything that you've shown us, valuable knowledge that our viewers are going to love. Now, I know we're going to see you tomorrow at 4 o'clock our time, which I'm guessing is going to be, oh, gosh, it's going to be about 11 in the morning. Is it something like that?
I believe it's 10.
10 o'clock. Oh, there you go. Not too far off there. And incidentally as well, when we were talking about the cardstock earlier on, I said 190 GSM. It was actually 150 with that attached bumper pack. I've just suddenly remembered that. Random. Anyway, thank you, Leah. We will team up with you again tomorrow. Look forward to working with you again. Now, the details are on your screen for your one-day special. So if you do want to get hold of it, now is a perfect opportunity. All 3 of those stamps with so many different possibilities. You've got 40 stamps within those stamp frames. And as you saw from all of Leah's wonderful demonstrations, an amazing opportunity for you to introduce colour into your projects. You've got your arc, you've got your diagonal, you've got your vertical, which of course can become your horizontal as well, depending on how you work with these. Now is the time for you to get hold of these. We're going to be back with these at 8 o'clock in the morning. Leah will be back with us 4 o'clock tomorrow afternoon, but we hope we can count on your company in between those times, and I will catch you after the break.